Hello, everyone. So my name is Emeric. I am French, born in New York, which is a bit awkward. And I'm based in Paris with my team. We're building a social media management software that aims at helping you to get to social inbox zero. So that's our thing. The first thing I wanted to say is a big thank you to the SaaS Talk team and to Alex in particular, because I've been traveling to the US for the last 5 years a lot, and I've seen how active and energetic the scene was there for startups and SaaS companies, and I was kind of missing that energy in Europe, and thanks to them, we have that now, and that's really, really cool. Thank you, Alex. What I want to do today in less than 20 minutes is to share the biggest 10 lessons we've learned growing from 0 to 1 and then to 4 million ARR. It's a tough exercise. I'm going to put my fancy watch so I know where I am, and I try not to exceed my time. The first thing we've learned, and I've learned in particular, is patience. And as founders, if you are founders or entrepreneurs, you know that patience is the least thing we nail. It's the thing we don't have. We're all impatient, and I am very, very much impatient. But when you look at our growth, and it looks like the one Alex showed you a couple of minutes ago with his own slide, kind of look the same, right? The first couple of years are awfully painful and slow. And suddenly, at some point, you hit something, you do something right, and you try to grow. And it's especially true when you're self-funded and you have to go organically at your own pace. So if you look at, we started in November of 2011 until March of 2015, things have been very, very tough and very slow. And only after that, things started to grow and become interesting. And trust me, during all these years, life was very tough and morale was very low. And for those of you who are in that stage, if you are in that stage, or if you ever go to that stage at some point, I highly recommend you to watch that talk from Gail Goodman. Gail Goodman is the founder of Constant Contact. That company got sold for more than $1 billion last year, one of the highest profile exit last year. And she talked about the long, slow SaaS ramp of death. That's exactly the title of her talk. And it's a 1-hour talk, and I was in the middle of that long, slow SaaS ramp of death, being despaired at the time. And I watched her, and I get off the talk, and I said, I got to keep going, because it's going to work eventually. It did for her, it will for me. So watch this if you're stuck in the middle, and you want to get some energy and some hope back. I did a bit.ly link for you to find it. It was at the Business of Software conference in Boston. You know that, those quotes from Steve Jobs, they're very well known. Overnight success always take a long time. And if you know Gary Vaynerchuk is also big on be patient, be patient. It will come to you if you know how to learn patience. Persistence is the number 2. So it may sound like the same as patience, but it is not. Patience is the ability to wait. Persistence is the ability to keep fighting while you wait. So that's the second thing you need to learn. The one thing I've learned about persistence is people always tell you that you need to have a big vision to succeed. My take on it is what you need is not a big vision, it's a very strong drive. And to illustrate this, I want to tell you a story I heard that resonated with me very much. It's a story that I heard from David Cancel. He's the founder of Drift. David, if you hear me. The story is the following. It's a guy who is young and ambitious, and he wants to succeed. And he hears that there is an already successful guy who is coming to his town to do a speech. And he goes to the meetup, listen to the guy, and go talk to him at the end. And he says, you've been there, you've done that, you are successful, I want to learn from you. And the old guy says, okay, meet me at the river tomorrow at 4 a.m. And they meet at the river at 4 a.m. and the old guy says, do you still want to learn how to be successful? And the young guy says, yes, I really want to learn that. Okay, follow me now. They start walking into the river. It's winter time. The river is freezing, and they start walking in the water until they have water to the ankles. And the old guy says, you want to keep going? You want to learn how to be successful? He says, yes, I really want to be successful as you were. I want to follow you. I want to listen to your advice. And they keep walking to the freezing cold water until they get water to the chin. And the old guy looks at him and says, are you still motivated to be successful? Are you sure? I am more than ever. Let's keep going. And then he takes his head and put his head underwater for like a minute. And the young guy can't breathe, is fighting to breathe and save his life. It's horrible. He thinks he's going to die. And after a minute, he takes his head off the water and he asks him, "What were you thinking when you had your head underwater?" And the young guy says, "I wanted to breathe, I want to breathe, I wanted to breathe." And the old guy tells him, "You'll be ready to be successful when you'll have your head underwater like you just did, and the only thing you'll be thinking about is, I want to succeed, I want to succeed, I want to succeed." So that story is very much extreme. Of course, it's an image, but it resonated with me very much because I remember myself having my head underwater, obviously not literally, but having my head under problems and like being depressed and losing hope. And even in those worst moments in our startup life, I still had that drive inside of me that would kick in and say, get up, back on your feet, fight again, try a different way, but you can't stop now, you can't give up now. So that drive was basically what took us from 0 to something. The key learning number 3 is that VC funding is not for everyone. So VCs don't care about good business. They care about business that will go to the moon, or business that will become unicorns, or be a $1 billion business. If what you care about is building a sound, profitable business, VCs won't care about you, just so you know. That's the one thing I've learned by trying to raise money 5 times. So my take is do everything you can to avoid VC funding. It's a very long topic that could take the entire 20 minutes here, so I'm not going to get there. I wrote a Medium post on that. You can find it under that link, bit.ly/no-VC. If you are interested to learn more about whether or not you should go for VC funding, absolutely read that post. But basically, in a nutshell, if you're interested by freedom and independence more than you're interested into becoming the next Mark Zuckerberg, VC is probably not for you. If what you need the most is have guidance and advice and people who can help you get there, but not really get the money, VCs are probably not good for you. If the sound and profitable business I've already mentioned, if you don't have like big dreams from day one, I'm going to dominate my market and be the biggest, most successful company in the world, but you just want to go step by step, which most of us do, then VCs are probably not a good fit for you either. And if you're not yet figured out if you have growth levers, definitely VCs are not a good fit for you because they will only invest in people who have growth levers or at least are convinced that they have growth levers. So if you've grown organically, a VC is not going to understand what that growth means for you. So read the full post. It's the takeaway of trying to raise money 5 times, meeting like 100 different VCs over 5 years. It's good learning. The learning number 4 is that remote work is not fantasy land. So the reason I'm saying this is because every time you hear about or read about remote work on the web or on podcast or anywhere on the internet, it's very pro-remote. Like remote is all funky and fancy and the best way to work. And I took that image from the Buffer blog, which is very well known for being a pro-remote company. And you see that guy surfing in his wetsuit and says, yeah, life, work, it's all the same, it's living. Well, this is a picture of vacation to me. It's not a picture of work. And making people believe that if you work remote, you have the perfect work-life balance and you have the ideal life and your company culture will be all great and everything is kind of misleading. That's my take on it. To clarify, I have nothing against remote work. 2/3 of our company is remote, and 1/3 is located in Paris. So remote is part of our culture and our company as well. But we've learned along the years that remote made a lot of different things more difficult than being on site in the office. Like onboarding new team members, it takes much more time. Communication is much more complicated. You have no idea how many times we have web conferences where one of the members have internet connection problem and we just can't hear what he says or she says. And that happens all the time, whether they are in Western Europe or in the US, and not even talking about Argentina or Brazil or the Philippines. If you want your remote team to work efficiently, you have to be super disciplined as a leader, as a founder, to make sure that communication, transparency, alignment behind the goals, all that you have to be disciplined about because they are not going to happen organically. In an office, especially when you're 10, 12, 15, those things happen organically. In a remote environment, nothing happens organically. If you are not disciplined about it, it will not happen and your whole team will be a chaos. And for high velocity, it's also very hard to be high pace, high velocity, high speed. Like in the very early days of the company, when that MVP needs to be out by Friday, and we need to start testing stuff next Monday and be fast, 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 fast. The remote environment will slow you down at every corner, and it makes things much, much more difficult. So for us, what has worked pretty well in remote positions is everything customer-facing, support, customer success, sales, marketing, but everything product-related, we've decided not to go remote as much as possible because it made things much more difficult for us to move fast. The learning number 5 is work-life balance. You know, you've heard about it probably. You've dreamed about it probably too, as I did. But it's a mirage. So this is probably one of the most sold book on Amazon, The 4-Hour Workweek. I read it. I'm sure some of you have read it too. If this is your dream life, forget about starting a business. Because as a founder, as an entrepreneur, you have to be the best at leadership, product, supporting your product, customer success, building your financial projections, understanding your accounting, growing the business, selling the product, being the best salesperson of your company, hiring, coaching, mentoring, ensuring the culture was right. Networking, like coming to events like this and meeting people and trying to build those relationships to take you somewhere at some point. You know, analytics tools and KPIs and learning Google Analytics and Kissmetrics and Mixpanels and God knows what. Personal growth, you have to keep growing and learning and become better. Staying in shape, you see how down in the list I put this one. It's always a challenge. Taking good care of your family, yes, you got to do that too. If not, they're going to let you alone. And at the end, if you still have some time left, you know, keeping your friends around, which is also something that's time-consuming and you need to invest in. Doing all that in 4 hours a week, forget about it. Yeah, I kept that one. I heard that so many times. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. That's a quote that's attributed to Michael Dell. When you're the founder of a self-funded small startup, you'll be the smartest person in the room for a long time until you can afford to pay the big check to people who are smarter than you. So that made me laugh on many occasions. Key learning number 6 is leadership is tough and it's crucial. We can talk about leadership for an entire hour. I'm only going to say one thing. If you are interested into becoming a better leader, read this book. It's a book written by a Navy SEAL, Jocko Willink. And everything in this book that's basically been discovered by Navy SEALs in operation in Iraq is entirely 100% applicable to leadership in businesses and organizations. And I'm not going to say you more. Read the book. It has transformed the way I see myself as a leader and the way I try to make my team members being leaders themselves. Extreme ownership. Key learning number 7 is setting priorities is key and super hard. Basically, every Monday morning and every day, I ask myself, I force myself to ask myself that question. Is what I'm going to do today the thing I should be spending most of my time today? Is it going to be the most impactful thing I can work on today? And I keep asking myself that question because as any human being, I have a tendency to just get shit done and not necessarily get the right shit done. And it's hard to know what's the right shit you need to get done. And so I ask myself this question continuously all the time. But even more importantly, you need to ask this question to your team. Because aligning yourself with the most important goals is key, but aligning a team of 10, 20, 30, 40 people behind the most important goals is even more important, because if you don't align them behind the right goals, you have 40 people going left and right and not doing the right thing. And you can get a team of 5 who is very well aligned with the right things, pass you over. So that's super, super important. I'm going to skip this one. Key learning number 8, hiring right is very, very, very tough. The one thing I've learned in hiring is you have to do the job yourself until you're about to die, until you're about to burn out. And the reason I do that is because it's the only way I can exactly know what the job takes, what I need, what kind of person I need to find, and what kind of skills I need to find to get this job done, because I did it myself, and I did it to a point where I couldn't deal with it anymore. And then is the right time to hire someone. So remember the 4-hour work week. you can forget about this one too here. Because the biggest mistake I've seen for us and for others is hiring people for jobs that are not very well defined or for jobs that are not vital to the company. So if you're in doubt, hire for customer-facing positions. You can thrive. You cannot thrive with pixel-perfect design, perfect email copy, AdWords, Facebook ads. You can still make it without those things, but you cannot make it without top-notch customer support and top-notch customer success and top-notch salespeople. So customer-facing, if you're in doubt, just hire people who will talk to customers and keep that relationship going. Key learning number 9, you have to reinvent everything all the time. What works for you to go from 0 to 10K, from 10K to 50K, 50 to 100, 100 to a million, over a million, those will be different things at every step. Just to give you one example, we did that. We invested a lot in customer reviews to be visible on that quadrant from G2 Crowd. And in the early days, there were like a dozen of tools, and we were really up to the right and on the top, and it made us look really good. 2 years down the line, there are like twice as many tools. It's much more crowded and chaotic. It's not as clear that we're one of the best. So it's probably working a lot less efficiently than it used to. The other thing we've done that basically took us from 0 to 300,000 unique to our website was to have a great social media blog. We started it in 2012, and we're still doing it as of today. And we won the best, one of the 10 best social media blog on Social Media Examiner in January this year. So it worked great. But it worked great until a certain point where it started to plateau, and it's still plateauing now. I mean, our traffic is basically stuck to 300K and hasn't moved up a lot for the last 12 months. So basically, we had to reinvent ourselves and say, okay, this took us from here to there. Now we need to figure out what's going to take us to the next step. And it's always something different. There is one ID and one efficient marketing and growth ID per step. I'm going to skip this one. The key learning number 10 is that the right tools can make a difference. So we use 30+ tools. I, again, wrote a Medium post about those. All the tools we're using, you can find them in that URL, bit.ly/SaaS-tools. If you search for my name on Medium, you're going to find all the stuff I wrote there about our journey. So 30 may sound too much. Here's DHH, the founder of Basecamp, 37 Signals, calling me a app hoarder because we're using too many tools. Not very nice, but that's what he thought. My take is if a $99 a month tool can save a couple of hours every week to someone you're paying $5K a month, it's a great investment, and you should invest in that. So sometimes we pay for one tool that's just useful for one of our 38 team members. Among the 30 tools, there are 3 that I wanted to mention. 2 of them receptive. They are over here. They have a booth. You really have to go talk to them. It's one of the best way to help you define what your product roadmap should be. We've tested a lot of different products to make sure that we allowed our client to give us feedback about what they want our product to go, where they want our product to go, and what they want us to build. And basically, the great thing with Receptive, it's not only about how many people want that feature, it's how important those people are, and how important that feature is for those people. So it prioritizes the feature request based on the weight of those users, and based on the weight of that feature for those users. So I really love it. It's really helpful, and the team is great. They're over there on the right. Go see them at the booth. The second one is Sales Machine. They're also over there on the left. I have no affiliation with them whatsoever. We're just using the tool, just to be clear. And when we started to do customer success, we tested a lot of tools. We looked at a lot of tools. Most of them super enterprisey and super expensive. And Sales Machine was actually the only one that was affordable. And it is very, very helpful to put together a CS framework and to be able to identify red flags with your client and reach out to your users when they're starting not to use your product as much as they used to. Gives you health, so you see the health score. That's pretty interesting to see how our enterprise clients are much more healthy than our low-paying clients, which is something your gut know, but seeing the data is very interesting. And the last one is Support Hero. It's a tool that helps you provide the best possible self-help support. self-help support is basically what people want. They don't want to send you an email to ask you a question because they already expect that they're going to have to wait a couple of hours, a couple of days to get an answer, and they're already frustrated if they cannot find the answer by themselves. And Support Hero is basically the best tool on the market to offer the perfect self-help support and to help you improve your self-help support to a level where everybody can find their answers without reaching out to support. And Matik is here. You can raise your hand. He's the co-founder of Support Hero. So obviously we have a lot of different tools, but because those are the one I feel the most connected with and I like the value the most, I wanted to share them with you. That's it, 30 seconds in. If there is one question, I guess I can take one question. No? No question? Cool. Probably was clear enough, I guess. Enjoy the conference.